Kelly's in Milwaukee. Mike is a new bureau chief in Newton, Mississippi. And the new Poundcake is waiting for you at alancoxshow.com.
So far, the reviews have been pretty kind.
There you go.
People are enjoying it. Good job, Poundcake.
What are they saying about Poundcake's new column?
They're saying it's very funny, and there's some... they're enjoying it.
Celebrating Easter while social distancing is what it is. Okay, there you go.
I took his piece and reworked it a little bit. I didn't change any of the words or add any of my own words. I kind of reordered the sentences to make it flow a little bit easier. And then I sent that to him, and we kind of went over it for a minute today before the show. And I was like, hey, this is just kind of an easier way to do this, or, just kind of structural things and editing issues. And I don't know. I told him, use it if you want to, just for next time, to kind of things to keep in mind. So
yeah, because we're gonna post them. I mean, if he wants to take any of your suggestions to heart, that's fine. We're going to post them unvarnished,
right, and
unedited, so that people can get the full Poundcake experience. Yeah,
little stuff like the one sentence was like, "We get a call from my uncle who is currently incarcerated." I was like, if you just say like, we get a call from my incarcerated uncle. It's quicker, easier, to the point. That kind of little minute stuff. But it was good. I liked it.
I laughed a lot. That was good. And like passing the wine to myself. That was great. Good line. A lot of people enjoy that one. And then also, I want to talk more about the Easter where everyone's talking about politics and your aunt just like sped off in her car.
Yeah.
Tell me that story.
Oh, my God. Well, I told as much as I remembered from in the article. But
okay, then bye.
But I will recap just one more time. Somebody brought up politics, and my uncle, I don't know what happened. He was kind of like moderate. He may have always been a Republican, but he wasn't as vocal about it.
This is a white uncle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he married my black aunt. And something happened, I don't know, like maybe when Barack, maybe he didn't like the way Obama was running things. And like after that, I don't know, something just kind of switched. So whenever you bring up politics, he just goes on. And it's a battle that you're not going to win. And even if you do win, he's not going to feel like he lets you win.
Is he a guy that was affected by Obamacare?
Oh, no. He's retired now, and he's always had a good job. He's always made good money. So, no.
Does he watch Fox News a lot?
I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure. I'm not there all the time, but I'm sure. And I forget who said what, but it was talking about like the racial inequalities and, about how Obama was getting essentially like not blackballed, but just like barred from making any laws, and the Congress wasn't helping him. And my aunt just had it. She grabbed her purse. She was like, I am so out of this bitch.
This is her husband?
Yeah, but like the family, it was a family discussion.
Yeah, but it's a married couple that's bickering.
Correct.
Yeah, wow.
And she was like, I'm so out of this bitch. And she grabs her purse.
So she was mad at her own husband.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just her husband, but everyone kind of
the conversation itself.
I think she was just over it. She was just like, I just want to have a nice Easter. I want to have a nice holiday. And you guys are ruining it. And she grabbed her purse and she took her keys. And I remember my mom saying, she was like, oh, well, she can't go anywhere. I'm parked behind her. And then we just hear,
and she cuts through the yard.
And we didn't see her. That's how fast it was. We did not see her leave. By the time we walked outside, I was like, that's not good. And I see tire tracks in the yard. We were like, crazy. Oh my. So we call her on the phone. She's like, I don't want to talk right now. And then, by later on that night, everything was chill after
people
we all
get heated.
Mm-hmm. But it was really heated. She was like, I just need to get away.
So
I like that people in his family, by the way, not opposed to interracial marriages.
Oh, no.
You got a lot of them.
My mom was with a white guy. Obviously, she had me and my brother. My aunt's married to a white man.
You think there'd be more arguments about that in certain parts of the family?
Well, but just because you're, married to someone of the opposite race or another race doesn't mean that you're always going to agree on the same politics.
No, I don't mean that. I mean a lot of people are just opposed to that in general.
Yeah. Well, no, that wasn't one of the topics of discussion.
Especially people of that generation.
If anything, you get to see the other side because, like I said, my uncle was Republican and he was raised very, very different than, my mom and her sister.
Makes for some hot action when he got home, though, I bet.
I don't know.
Boy, you come off
worked up, fighting
man.
Sex.
You're
you
just
that's
foaming at the shorts.
They had it all planned like, all right, you're going to bring up Barack Obama, and then you're going to get all mad, and I'm going to leave in a fit of rage, and then you're going to come home and calm me down.
Ew,
the way you know
stop.
how.
I really hope
That's
not.
just how white folks will do you.
Yeah, that makes me want to puke. But yeah, yeah. So things get heated. There's every holiday you can almost bet. You can almost sometimes me and my brother place like a time clock. We're like, okay, so we are going to see how long it takes for someone to blow a fuse, and it's gonna go down. Because if it's not me, it'll be my brother. If it's not my brother, it's going to be my mom. If it's not going to be my mom, it's going to be my cousin or one of my relatives that's going to say something, and it's just going to blow up. And it doesn't have to be politics. It could be, so when are you going to pay me my money? Or when are you going to drop that person that I told you to stop hanging around with? Or, stop posting on social media. The government's going to see you or something like that.
People can't just have fun and just...
No! It's always something ratchet.
Conversations.
I can't remember the last time I do stuff for Easter, but like I'm not like, I don't celebrate Easter. Like Christmas, I'll still go, I'll celebrate Christmas, but Easter is like an afterthought to me.
I miss my Easter basket, and my aunt still makes me like hunt for it. She's like, "It's somewhere. You're getting cold." She was like, "All right, you're getting a little warmer."
It's like at Passover where you're looking for the chocolate.
I was like, "I'm grown. Like, just give me my $50." She's like, She's like, "It's in the basket. You got to find it.
You got to work for it." I do like the line in his column, though. Lastly, I know most people can relate to not having political discussions at family gatherings, especially if you have some old geezers that are stuck in their...
Yeah, and that's not a
Cross that out there.
That's not a jab at Republicans. That's anybody.
Yeah.
Just any old geezers?
Yeah, because they can't see the
You
other
can be
side.
an old geezer whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever.
But I feel like I would be.
They're old hippies too.
I feel like I would be a down old geezer. Like I feel like I would be an old geezer that's gonna listen to reason and not be so stubborn.
Everybody says that when they're young,
I know.
and some people do stick with that. There are old hippies, and there are but there's just a natural progression that I think is probably really hard to avoid. The older you get, and you've seen some things, and you've had the shrimp kicked out of you a few times, you either go one way or the other. I mean,
maybe you have some buddies.
There's no coincidence that people get more conservative the older that they get.
We didn't realize when we were younger how conservative or like how, I guess, cut off my other relatives were, because like they just like got rid of dial-up like maybe 5 years ago, and they had to...
Is dial-up more conservative than
Well, I was going to say, what's
cable?
that got to do with...
Well, because he was like, I don't want you going online and, posting my address. I'm like, everything is done online. They're like, but that's how hackers get you. That's how you get my... I'm like, you don't have to put anything on there that you don't want to. They're like, I don't know. So
it's kind of how my dad was for a long time. He wouldn't buy anything online. He goes, I don't want to put my credit card. I go, Dad, you've used an ATM machine before, all right? All of our information is already out there. That ship sailed a long time ago.
I was pretty surprised.
And now he's on Amazon all the time.
As a kid, like I didn't really understand the difference between Republicans and Democrats, other than I knew my dad and mom were Republicans. And then as I grew up and started to learn more, all the values that I had as a Mormon and like a Christian seemed to be more towards the Democrat side rather than the Republican side, except for certain things like abortion and stuff like that. But when you come to like helping people out in things that they consider socialism, I'm like, well, doesn't that kind of fall under what you taught us as a kid to be? And they'd be like, well, different when it's my money.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it never occurred to me. I never thought about where my parents were politically. I mean, I guess I should have known. I think in my mind, I thought that my parents made some big shift, but they probably didn't. My dad was in the military. My mom was a one-issue voter, and that single issue was who's pro-life. So, but they were never, like, overtly prejudicial toward people that I saw. So I guess I thought I grew up in like a Democrat-ish household, but thinking back, I'm like, there's no way that could have been true.
Right, and that's kind of how I was. Like, I didn't realize that I was, like, I thought I had, like, the values that I thought I had, I thought were Republican values, and then I go, oh, they're not. I'm actually, like, these things that you taught me definitely trend more to the Democratic side of things, but I don't have the religious attachment to them. So it was just very strange to find that out when I got a little older.
Alan, yesterday's show when David called in about his book, remember when David called you? He used to be our bureau chief on Hatteras Island, and he's writing a book about being homeless in Akron. He said Hatteras Island is where you go when you're broken, but I got married there, so I'm not sure what to think now. Uh-oh, that's Justin. He's worried because the very place, although it sounds
Everybody's
like
journey's different.
you and David had very different...
and maybe it'll end up being somewhat prophetic. maybe your life will fall apart and you'll be like, it all started on Hatteras Island.
Hatteras Island. Yeah. You can always use the Alan Cox Show After Hours line, by the way, if you're not able to join us while we're live. 216-986-8903.
Calling because I heard about Dr. Fauci's decision or opinion that handshakes shouldn't be a thing of the past, and I know that would make Mr. Alan Cox happy. What it made me think of is, I know the Simpsons are very notorious for predicting the future, but didn't know Demolition Man was so good at predicting the future. And we basically already have virtual sex. Now we're going to have the little handshakes and the greetings with the virtual high fives and the rubbing in the air, the mellow greetings for Lena Huxley. If that happens, I hope the virus takes all of us out before we have to do that later.
Were they not touching each other in Demolition Man?
They were not.
Huh.
You wouldn't make physical contact with people, and you wouldn't. But then,
because of a global pandemic, or it had just evolved?
Into that, and it's one of those things where eventually they do end up touching each other, and it's pretty awesome.
It's crazy when Sly Stallone gets up into young Sandy Bullock.
Yeah,
he wants to show her how they did it in his time. He took the 3 stones and got him right up in there. 3 cells. Sorry, seashells.
Which we talked about. The theory that I have come to approve when it comes to the 3 seashells, because other people have said that they're used to like clamp on the on your butt and pull out the Duke. But I like the sonic energy, like the sonic waves,
that vibration.
Yeah, the vibration shaking the fecal matter off your butt.
Well, maybe we don't know what positive things will come from this global pandemic. People thinking about things differently, opportunities for innovation. Who knows?
More bidets.
Dr. Fauci did do a Q&A with the Journal of the American Medical Association, and he said we should probably just never shake hands again. It's an antiquated notion. Let's get rid of it. I'm genuinely curious how many people would really be opposed to that. Like, who cares if you never shook someone's hand again?
People ask me things that never going to change. I think the idea of simple things that we didn't take seriously before, constant hand washing. When people have fevers, keep them out of places where they can spread. Do not send a sick child to school. Do not send a sick worker into the workplace. Don't anybody ever shake hands again. I mean, it sounds crazy, but that's the way it's really got to be until we get to a point where we know that the population is protected.
I'll tell you what, if you have little kids, I bet most parents have noticed that your kid has not been sick.
So not
because when kids are in school,
yeah.
they're always sick with something. It's a petri dish. It just goes round and round and round. One kid's got something, another kid comes home, that kid gets better, another kid, you know. And if you have multiple kids that are in school, I bet there's a lot of parents, you know, it might be, I'm sure it's very inconvenient to not have your kids in school, but, you know, they're probably not sick.
But no one got swine flu but me.
No.
I'm not going.
No system is perfect.
God's plan.
That's right. His will be done, Poundcake.
Generally, we know with infections like this that at least for a reasonable period of time, you're going to have antibody levels that'll be protective. So we're making an assumption that this virus is not changing very much. And if we get infected in February and March and recover, that next September, October, that the person who's infected, I believe, is going to be protected. We don't know 100% for sure, but I think that's a reasonable assumption.
If you've been infected, you're going to be protected. It's kind of got an OJ quality to it, you know? Did anybody see Dr. Anthony Fauci call out the stigma that gays face while Mike Pence is standing right behind him?
No, but I'd like to hear it.
It's well documented at this point that when Mike Pence was governor of Indiana, he oversaw a huge public health crisis in which Dr. Jesus there thought it'd be a good idea to slash HIV programs and things like that, because I guess he thought that they would just pray and it would all be taken care of. But Dr. Fauci, you know, he's a man of science. And so he has an opportunity to get some points across to people, irrespective of which one of these dolts is breathing down his neck in the briefing room.
Disparities in the African-American community, because it really is very important. And the reason I want to bring it up, because I couldn't help sitting there reflecting about sometimes when you're in the middle of a crisis, like we are now with the coronavirus, it really does have ultimately shine a very bright light on some of the real weaknesses and foibles in our society. And as some of you know, the greater proportion of my professional career has been defined by HIV/AIDS. And if you go back then, during that period of time when there was extraordinary stigma, particularly against the gay community, and it was only when the world realized how the gay community responded to this outbreak with incredible courage and dignity and strength and activism that I think that really changed some of the stigma against the gay community.
Mike Pence, like, I wish Mother was here to hold my hand. Yeah, Fauci really kind of made his bones, and there have been a lot of articles written during the coronavirus crisis from gay people of a certain age who were like, hey, want to talk to somebody who's lived through a plague before? Mm-hmm. Talk to a gay person who's in their 50s or 60s.
That was the first thing that came out of my mom's mouth when I told her, when I actually like came out. She was like, STDs, you're more likely to get something if you're a gay man, right? And I'm like, well, I'm protected. I'm good. But
well, it's a much safer time to be engaging in certain behaviors than it was in 1985.
Yeah, we're in a good time. Like, I'm really lucky because, especially in my whole phase, I don't know if I would have survived.
I thought it was funny. I was watching a thing the other night on the Prime Minister of Ireland, who has gone back to practicing medicine to help out as not full-time, but he is the Prime Minister of Ireland, but he's still helping as a doctor. Now, we have a reality television show host running this country, but I can't help but think that even if he had been a doctor, I can't imagine them wanting the head of state to potentially infect themselves. I mean, we have a line of succession here. A lot of other countries don't have that, unbelievably. A lot of other countries are like, what happens if Boris Johnson, they just grabbed a guy, said, all right, if Boris Johnson dies from this, you're next. Because they have a prime minister and the queen. They've got a different kind of system. But I was watching a thing on the Prime Minister of Ireland, who is Indian. He grew up in Ireland, but he's the son of Indian immigrants. And he's gay. And I think that Ireland still outlawed abortion. I don't know if they made it legal, but for a long time, you couldn't even get an abortion in Ireland. It's a very Catholic country, right? But they still have a foreign-born gay head of state who's a doctor.
Some of the things...
All those people still said, yeah, that's the guy we want. Can't have an abortion, but we like that guy. Over here, people's heads explode when they go, maybe a woman?
No.
What?
She gets her period. She's PMSing and then what?
How does Angela...
Chocolate and nukes.
Why are people okay with Angela Merkel?
What do you mean, why are they okay with her?
Like, how did Germany, crack the mold, or break the mold?
Well, she's not the first female. I mean, Golda Meir was running Israel in the 50s. So, I mean, plenty. There are African countries who have female heads of state. We haven't been able to figure it out yet. Now, granted, those are countries that are much more... this is an extraordinarily diverse country. It's a huge, diverse country. So if you have a country like Sweden or Ireland or, a country in Africa...
Super small.
Not even size, just all those people are either German or Irish or African. You know what I mean? Zimbabwean, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. My people.
So you just have, they're just less diverse countries. So
but you think in a country where there's more diversity, there would be more diversity amongst our leaders, but there's not.
Well, you would certainly think so. I'm just saying that I think the more diversity you have, the more difficult it is to get everyone to come to a single conclusion.
That
makes sense.
That makes sense.
I mean, but Angela Merkel was a scientist as well. So Germany goes, yeah, we like her because she's smart, and we'd like someone smart to run the country. Now, conversely, you've got Ukraine, where they basically hired Jon Stewart to run the country. A guy who was playing the president on television is now running the country.
So you could do it. You get it, right?
So
same stuff.
There's a little bit for everybody. But I was fascinated by the Prime Minister of Ireland because he's son of an immigrant. So he doesn't look Irish, doesn't look like Conan O'Brien. And
I'm just surprised you don't have to be born. Wait, he was born in Ireland, though.
Born in Ireland.
Okay, so
but the son of an Indian immigrant.
But still, I mean, he's Irish then.
He is. I mean, he grew up as I understand it. He did. He grew up there. Yeah. But obviously, doesn't look like Patty McShamus.
Right.
So pretty wild and openly gay.
How's he doing? Doing a good job?
Doing pretty well. I mean,
Hey.
I love Ireland.
Yeah.
That's where my people are from, Bill.
What people are those?
The Irish.
Oh,
Some of those people.
Yes, I don't know.
More Scottish.
I'm either Welsh or I'm Scottish or I'm Irish,
Yeah.
but we all know who my real people are, Bill.
One of the stabby white countries.
Right.
Stabby?
My people are
Why
right.
stabby?
Because the guns are
Potatoes and warm
outlawed.
beer.
Yeah.
I never heard that before.
Stabby
You come
white
from one of
people.
those stabby white countries.
Well, sure.
I love that.
They're like, yeah, they got a problem with knives, but they're not able to knife 100 people at once in
going to
5
knife
seconds. Yeah. Why don't you come over here and grab me, shillelagh? So, yeah, one of those stabby white countries is where I'm from. I mean, my ancestors are from... Obviously, my ancestors are from here, Bill. Native Americans are my true ancestors.
That was a myth.
Absolutely not right. That's very false.
Not as I understand it.
So you'd be the Pocahontas. then.
Why else was
You
this...
believe in science, and the science said no.
Bill, why else was this played at my wedding? And my grandmother's funeral. Why else?
Because you hired...
because you paid for the DJ.
Yeah.
I hired Navajo dancers to form a circle around my grandmother's casket. That's right, because those are her people.
DJ Big Bow.
Sure, she was German. Who?
DJ Big Bear.
DJ Big Bear. That's right. But he slaps. And so
Literally,
that's what
the drum.
yeah,
he
the
slaps
drum,
the
yeah.
That's
drum.
why I got. That's right. It was a buffalo hide drum, and he slapped. And that's why I got him in there.
Poundcake's grooving to it.
All I need is a Speedo and like some man flops, and I'll be out in the streets.
What are man flops?
Flip-flops for men.
They're all for men or women. They're unisex, aren't they?
No.
They're not?
No. There's women's flip-flops that have, like, flowers
But they're not
on them.
called man flops.
I call them
Unless
man
he's
flops.
referring to something else.
I was going to say, I think he might be referring
Is
to
your
something
Speedo
else.
a man flop?
It's like a banana hammock or a man flop.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have a man flop if I'm wearing board shorts.
Maybe.
But it's got nothing to do with my footwear.
You see it from across the pool. Yo, check out this man flop. Look at that.
Hells yeah, you can. That's right. You better keep a gator's distance away from me, baby, if you know what's good for you. Wait, so this makes you think of partying on the beach?
No, I said in the middle of the street. I didn't say beach.
Okay,
But a
this makes you
Speedo
think of
and
partying in the
man
Speedo and man flops in the middle of the street. This is what. Okay.
I'm going in the middle of like Oak Tree Boulevard.
When this under one street lamp, he's like in the shining light of the street lamp.
Okay.
You know?
Well, listen. Art can take many. It inspires so many different
Yoko
feelings.
Ono can do it. I can do it.
That is true. Yes.
Just saying. She's no better
Anything
than me.
Yoko can do, you can do better.
She is
I
known
fully
for,
believe that.
She's known for her designer line of man flops. So.
Who want my man flops? Yeah. Okay. Listen, I got to break here. If you want to send a text, please do 35192. Next chance for you to grab $1,000 is coming up at 4:30.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio.